and it'll go extract the data, and hang on a second, I got do one thing here.
Are you okay with me doing some screen grabs?
I'm sorry?
Is it okay for me to do some screen grabs, did you say?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Now this social and DOB date of birth. This is the date of birth of the patient we're trying to grab the record of.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just basically going to send back the data. And so you've got all the patient's information here, where they live, phone number, sex, language that they speak, preferred contact method, and all that. And it's the standard XML that I showed you.
Yeah.
And then you've got their ICD-9 codes.
Yeah.
Then you've got basically, you've got their ICD-9 codes, you've got well, here, I got a better thing for you.
So this record here, is this an anonymized actual record?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So this is what, when we do our fetch, this is what we're going to get, and then we have to parse this.
That's correct. And let me...
And there's no way to do this in JSON? It's got to be XML?
Right now, that's all we've got.
Okay.
We're using the same engine that we're using for certification.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we're gonna have to grapple with XML anyway, so no big deal.
And then let me pull up the patient's chart. Okay, so you can see this is what we have in their chart right now, and this is the same tool. They call it the same engine. We get the same data back. The only difference is it gets displayed and it downloads the XML file, but it also gets it to them in human readable form. Okay, so this is what's actually contained within that XML file.
Got it.
You've got patient's date of birth, race, where they live, sex, ethnicity, the patient ID.
Now the patient ID, is that a patient ID that was generated by the private practice that created the record, or where does that ID come from?
Okay, this ID is internal, and this is the ID created by the practice.
When you say internal to PBO MD?
Correct.
Okay, and then one you've highlighted right there is the practice ID?
Correct.
Okay.
And then the date of the last encounter, who performed it, where it was performed, and then you've got the reason for the visit, which is like their chief complaint, their current ICD problems, their medications, allergies, results from their lab results,
Yeah.
Their vital signs, and plan of care, history, procedures, instructions, social history, and immunizations.
Yeah. Now I see some of them say omitted. Now I'm assuming, and I'm still getting my we're not EHR experts per se, but is there a certain amount of these fields must be filled in some way to satisfy meaningful use, or can some be omitted and some not be omitted?
Yes.
And is it clear which ones are omittable and which ones are not omittable?
Well, that's not built into the API just yet, but to answer that question, what I'll have to do is we'll have to set up another field, which will be parameters. It basically, any of the items that they don't check here don't get included in the data.
Okay.
But like I said, they're still in the final stages of building this out.
Okay. And that question was as much for our UI as anything else, because when we're doing our telemedicine consult, we're going to try to keep that as simple as humanly possible, and we may or may not satisfy meaningful use. But in an ideal world, we would satisfy meaningful use when we're capturing data in our telemedicine thing. That may just be too onerous, and it may just be too much friction to choose to do that. But if we can satisfy meaningful use, then we'd like to. So I think getting ourselves up to speed on what's omittable and what isn't is helpful for a number of reasons.
I understand.
Okay.
And so that's basically it in a nutshell.
Okay. Well, good. The guys will be fired up. So when do you think it's going to be ready to be played with? I think they're ready to go on their end as soon as the API is finished.
I was trying to have it ready for you today,
Okay.
but it's not quite there yet.
Okay.
So we'll probably need the rest of the week. So and as soon as I get something they can start playing with, I'll let you know.
Okay. And we're working with a bunch of practices right now that are independent of on-site health. So I would like to do this regardless. We're definitely working through things with on-site health, and we expect that to come together. But these other relationships also require an EHR solution. That we would need to bring an EHR solution to the table. So we're interested in this regardless of how things shake out with on-site health.
No, I understand that, and they're working pretty much 12 hours a day on this thing right now.
Awesome. Okay, great. All right, we're fired up. We'll make good use of those efforts.
Okay, fantastic.
All right. If there's any more sales support you can do for me, because I expect to be in a meeting with one of these other private practices at the end of this week, and for me to make a successful sell, I've got to basically sell us and you simultaneously. Because our system just doesn't work very well without an EHR complement. So I feel like I'm going to need to be brought up to speed a little bit to do that.
Okay.
Can I be connected with one of your sales guys to try to help me become better at describing PBO MD?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The best thing for me to do probably would see if I can get Brett to schedule a web conference with you and let him just go through the product with you.
Okay.
And if need be, if you need us to maybe do a web conference when you're there to better off show them the product, we're certainly willing to do that as well.
I may take you up on that. Let me just see how it goes. Selfishly, I'm trying to sell my stuff first. But if they have to be sold simultaneously, I would definitely like to take you up on that.
Well, here's what you can do. You can go in there, talk to them, talk about the product, talk about the relationship, get their interest, and then say, listen, why don't we set up a time to do a web conference, and then we could do a follow-up web conference next week or something, or whatever's convenient for you.
Yeah. Okay, well, that sounds good. As I mentioned in our previous call, the competition seems to be Greenway. They've gone down the path with Greenway a little bit. So knowing how you can favorably compare to Greenway is going to be helpful to me.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay.
I'll make that happen.
Okay. And there's another practice as well. Another practice, fusion practice. This one's bigger. It's got multiple doctors. I think they have 50 doctors. And they're here in Spartanburg. And they have had a very unpleasant experience with practice fusion. So they're looking for an alternative as well. And the competition there is Epic because the local hospital, Spartanburg Regional, is just converting over to Epic. that may be overkill for this practice. They keep it simple in this practice. So I'll be in a similar boat with them, probably also at the end of this week. But again, there the competition is epic.
All right, well, that's good to know. I'll have my guys try to see if they can get some pricing information for me so that I have something I can talk to.
Yeah, and I guess its competition is epic, and to convince them that this is going to be a better experience than Practice Fusion.
Right, now I understand.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. I look forward to doing all these things with you guys. I'm going to share this information with our back end people, Arjun and Akshay, and you just let me know when we can start playing around with it.
It should be just another day or two before we get something that's somewhat functional. It may not be fully built out yet, but it's at least something that can get started.
Okay. Also, have you had any more talks, maybe internally, about working with us with some of your existing customers? Trying to promote telemedicine services to some of your existing folks.
We have talked about that, and the people that we've talked to so far say, "Well, can you show me what you got?" And basically, the only thing that I can tell them, I said, we're building the interface now. We should have that done in a week or two, and basically just trying to buy you some time to get the rest of your pieces to where you feel like you're comfortable to show something. And then we'll take a look at it and go from there.
We can show you something. We've got a live demo we can perform. What would be ideal is if we can show it with your data populating into screens, so you really see how the two complement each other. And if we can, once we get our hands on the API, the UI for that has already been designed and is being implemented right now. So we could give a really cool demo on that in the days ahead.
Okay, I look forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
All right. All right. Well, I'll have Brent reach out to you